Hi, today as part of our Business Spotlight program, I'm with Gokhan Celik. He's CEO and of ATech Sin. They're based in Shannon in Clare. So over to you, Gokhan. What is it you do, and for how long have you been doing it?
Oh yeah, ATEXin is a company. It stands for Advanced Technologies with Synergy. And what we do is we build larger unmanned air vehicles, so UAVs. I don't say drones because when we say drones, people usually think of these small quadcopters or hexacopters. What we're building is this 5-meter wingspan, 6-hour endurance, 5-kilo payloads, capacity, big, almost planes. So we like to call them unmanned air vehicles. So because the only thing that's missing is there's no pilot on the plane. We are a company now. We started in 2016 in Ireland, but we have a tradition of almost a decade now. So I started doing this business 10 years ago in 2013. And I'm the only owner, shareholder of the company. So it's a bootstrap company, no venture capitalists, no nothing, no money raising. So that's what we're very proud of. And we are working on a 7,000 square feet Shannon free zone hangar with 22 people locally, 15 globally edition, and 7 outsourced people working with us. So a total of 44 different people working with us right now. And we have the ambition to grow to 200 or 300 people in the next couple of years, hopefully.
Very good.
We're understaffed as we are, so but that's been like for the last 10 years the same thing.
So you're growing, and you're also very busy. Would that be a fair comment?
Yes, I mean, yeah, the company itself, we are an end-to-end solution provider. So which means that we design the aircraft, we integrate our solutions, we also have the key IP like electronics, software that we're using on the UAVs. We have IP related components like the autopilot, CAN networks, system architecture, everything is in-house. So that means a lot of people will have a lot of different hats working on the same different projects at the same time. That's what we do.
And it's slightly different to the business that other businesses would be more traditional. Who are your main customers? Are they here in Ireland or abroad or both?
Yeah, 95% of our customers are is export, so we global. We have only one customer, I think, in Ireland so far. It's the Limerick University, who bought a system 5 years ago. But Ireland is a good base to do R&D. So what we do is we develop here, we test here, but then we export the results to globally. So we have customers in Taiwan, India, UK, starting now in Turkey, and a lot of other countries.
Fantastic, brilliant. And so what would you attribute your growth to? I mean, you're 10 years going and you're growing, and you look like you're going to be growing even more.
Yes, I mean, I would say, first of all, focus. Yeah, I think that this was the most important part in our growth, because we knew from the start that it was a 3-person company. So me and my buddy Osman, we thought, okay, we are software developers, so we can develop software, so we should stay on the software side. So we started with building an autopilot that nobody else had. So we focused on our strengths. But then we had a lot of offers to build other software, other electronics, other this and that. But we never pivoted away from the yellow brick road, if you may. So we said, okay, we may do some pivoting within these region, but always stay on the yellow path, brick path, and don't go off it, because that's when you start using your resources in things that really don't bring something back. So we focused on autopilots and UAVs, and even within the UAV and drone industry, we focused on a specific category, which is 25 to 150 kilograms, where we thought is going to be the least competition, but the highest technology and required. So we can say that right now we are in the world, 4 or 5 more companies like us are building this capacity, and we are competing with big primes on this. So we focused on vertical takeoff and landing. We focused on 6-hour endurance. We focused on specific category. That was it. But then within the adventure, of course, you need to pivot a lot. So the idea was just to stay on the software side, but we couldn't find an electronics component manufacturer or supplier. So we started designing our own electronics.
Wow.
So then we had the equipment, but we couldn't put it on an airplane. So we said, okay, let's design an airframe. And
Wow.
then we said, okay, now we have the design, we have the product, but who's going to fly it? And nobody would fly it. So we said, okay, let's hire a flight team, teach them how to do it, change things a little bit. So that's the pivoting that we've been doing, but always on the road. Okay, we need to design, manufacture, build, fly, and prove people that we can do this before we can sell. And product and services oriented, be product and services oriented. And I think that was that growth was to where we are. So 10 years in drone business. I know you come from a banking history. This is like 100 years in banking. So that's how it is. Because 2-3 years is normally a drone company would be procured by a bigger company or so. Nobody stays here for 10 years if you're not a prime. So and one more thing is, while we've been doing this pivoting, so you have limited resources, you have to understand what is worth changing and what's worth investing in your effort. So to understand that, we have been involved with the field, on the field, with the users a lot. So by a lot, I mean we have very clear rules, and that's one of the other things that contributed to our growth, I think. We have very clear rules, like, okay, nothing starts if there's a requirement, a very solid requirement from the field. So an end user or one of our pilots needs to tell us, we need this because we have experienced this problem on the field, and this is catastrophic, or this is a good add-on, or whatever. And we don't, I mean, nobody decides, no engineer or nobody decides sitting on a desk, okay, this would be a nice feature or something. So everything needs to come back from the end user, everything needs to come back from internal or external end user. And so we have a very good feedback mechanism. We live with our customers. I mean, literally live with them wherever they are. When we deliver the first product, especially weeks, months, we stay with them to understand their specific conditions and their specific environment, because UAVs is not a product that you can just sell and build and sell and it's good for everybody. Especially in our category, there's a lot of configuration changes and a lot of customization to the specific operation that you need to do to achieve better performance. So that's, I think, that contributed to our growth. So we have a lot of repeat customers, can I say. So when someone starts using our system, they keep using our system. So we have never lost a customer until now. For 10 years, we have no loss of customer. Everybody keeps buying from us once they're hooked in.
Fantastic. So if I understand you correctly, Gokhan, you've stayed within, you've defined kind of your avatar or niche or whatever you want to call it, the yellow brick road.
Yes.
Stick into that, but you've sort of grown vertically and both directions to actually meet the customer's demands, and you spend a lot of time understanding exactly what the customer's demands are, the end users.
Yes. Because you don't, when you're a small company and especially bootstrapped, Kevin, you don't have the luxury to make mistakes. So you can't just invest in something and that doesn't pay off.
Right.
So everything that we developed so far, and we have developed over 18 subsystems and 8 UAVs, 2 autopilots in the last 10 years. Each one of them has a very good basis of a set of requirements coming from the field. So that's why we never made a mistake, I would say. So just as an example, we have defined the capacity of the UAV that we want to build 5 years ago, based on all the feedback that we got from our customers, but then of course filtering them because the customer doesn't know what they want. So understanding what the real problem is, not what they want right now, because customers are like kids. They want chocolate, they want sweets, but you can't give that to them. So you need to understand that they're hungry, so you need to give them what they need. So 5 years ago, we defined, okay, this is the UAV that we need to build in 5 years. That's going to be the requirement. And that's what we're seeing now exactly on the field. So every RFI that we get, request for information, request for quotation, I mean, our sales guys, they're so excited when we get a document and say, look, they've defined us. So this is our plane. How did they get their hands on our tech spec? They just defined us. I keep telling them that's not it. I mean, we defined the requirements. So everybody is coming to an understanding, okay, that this is the product that we need. We just defined the product that people will want in 5 years. And that's what we keep doing.
Wow.
So I think that's the key.
You're reminding me of a few things. Like Intel, they have their R&D off-site, and they're designing for 10 years time. And they decide what they're going to have for the chip is going in. And the other one you remind me of is Michael O'Leary when he was taking over Ryanair. He went over to Herb Keller, but he stayed there for 6 months and asking the guy questions, annoying him, but staying with him, and to understand how to actually build an airline. That airline was 20 million in the hole when he took over it. You know? And
I think I like that analogy because it's what we also say. One of our rules is don't rely on common wisdom and challenge common wisdom all the time. Because in our industry, people think we are an aviation company. So a lot from the aviation industry comes back to us as, okay, you need to do this and that. This is not an aircraft. You're not carrying passengers, and this is UAVs. And there's a completely different reason people use UAVs. So although both of them are flying, one is DDD, dull, dirty, dangerous jobs, and the other one is all about safety. So of course we don't want anything to fall from the sky,
no,
but it's not like an aircraft. So I can't spend 15, 20, 50 million euros just to get a certification or type certification. So we need to find different ways to do it.
Yeah, interesting. It's one of the things we taught was, to understand what you're selling, know what you're selling, and the hint is it's not your product or service. It's what it does for your customer.
Yes,
so you're defining that in some detail for me. Okay, if you had to start from square one in business, what would you do differently, do you think?
Yeah, that's one of the questions that I keep asking myself. Because it's like the butterfly effect. So if I change something, would I be way off of what we are doing right now? But I think what I can say, instead of answering this question that way, maybe rephrase it. So what are we doing right now better than what we were doing 10 years ago? That might be a better question answer.
Mm-hmm.
So I would focus on the team more and team evaluation. And to be honest, I would be faster. Right now, I am faster in letting people go if they don't fit in. So like in the first 3 months, and I keep telling everybody, we may have spent a lot of money to interview people, but if they don't fit in within the first 3 months, just don't bother. I mean, we need to let them go. We need to have people who fit in. Because again, small company don't have resources to spend, and of course we look into maybe we can discuss this also later. But there are certain things that you look into people. It's not just the knowledge that they bring, but it's more about fitting in. And then I would spend probably more time in preventing toxic behavior in the company, and that's what I keep saying. So gossiping and talking about things doesn't help. So you need to prevent that. And
Yeah.
I would probably take steps to expand faster and definitely divide my business into sub companies. That would be something, because we are doing right now, I told you that we're building 17, 18 subsystems. Most of those subsystems are built by a competitor just as a product, and it's just the company's lead product. So they build just that and nothing else. Whereas for us, it's a sub product. So something on the side that we're building. But that's, of course, then you can't focus on it. So it just stays there. It does a job, but I would subdivide the company and I would decide on what's core business and what's side business, and then go with partners on the side businesses. I think that would be
fantastic. There's a lot in that, and as you say, I think you've covered some of this already. But what are what have been your biggest learnings as an employer since you've been in business?
Yeah, my biggest learning would be that business consists of people in it, not really about the business itself. So and people's capabilities and capacities, or lack of them, may become a burden in time. So you may be very good with someone at the start. You need that specific something that this person has. But in 5 years, as this business grows, if those people, they cannot evolve with the business, you just need to find a way to replace them with the ones that you can. I think I don't like the word replace, because one of our core values is that we don't have employees, we have friends. But even with a friend, sometimes you would just say, look, my friend, I like you very much, but I'm sorry, I'm not going on this adventure with you because you lack some of this. I'm not going climbing with you because you don't have the qualities to climb, and neither do I, so I need someone else. No? So, and one more thing probably is, what I learned is that money costs. Money has a cost. So if you are willing to give up some of your freedom and so you can raise a lot of money, but if you don't, you shouldn't. So people keep thinking, because they see a lot of these examples of venture capitals investing 30, 50, 100 million in businesses, and they think that this is good. But I think we need to look also on the bad examples as well as on the good examples. And money has a cost. So if you have investors, if you want to bring people in, you need to give up something. So, and then you need to decide if it's worth the value or not.
Fantastic. Interesting take on all of that. Yeah. And I suppose the other one, and what you described there on the sort of culture and having fitting in and all that, that's a common theme emerging from all these interviews. People are talking about protecting their culture, and this thing about give it about 3 months, and if they're not fitting in at that stage, we need to part company, because defending the culture, fiercely, I suppose, is what they're saying. But it's interesting that's coming through a lot. So how do you? The other one then, I suppose, is you're busy, you're growing, all that stuff. How do you balance your personal life with the demands of running a business?
Yeah, we don't. There's no such thing. So, I don't know, Kevin. I hear that a lot, but I'm of Turkish origin. We work, we work 16, 17 hours. So that's what we do. I think there is no personal balance between personal life. It's personal life, and if you own a company, it just is the same life. So what I've started doing lately is that whenever I have a business trip, I take my wife with me. So because we can't spend enough time, so we just take an extra day on wherever we are, and then spend some quality time. But other than that, I have 3 kids, all grown up, 19, smallest one, youngest one is 19 years old. There is no balance. We have to sacrifice a lot. So, and if anybody can do that, I really, really admire them for it, but I don't think it's possible.
Interesting.
So from my perspective, it's not possible.
Interesting take. Interesting take. So, and I think we've covered it already, but just to maybe expand a bit, what qualities do you look for in employees, and how do you foster a positive and productive work environment? I mean,
Yeah, yeah. So I think first of all we have very clear, uh, as I said, rules. And if you go and check our core values, you can see that it's all about people and employees and customers working together. I kept saying one of the first things that I keep telling people when we have an interview is, look, my goal is to build a company where people, when it's a Saturday or Sunday weekend and they wake up, and I want people to say, it's the weekend, I can't go to work, I have to stay home. So that's what I want. So, and this phrase about if you like what you're doing, you are not working a day in your life. Um, that was all that we wanted to build up. So a place where people would just come in, do something they are interested in, they like doing, and then go home and be excited about that and tell their wives and kids, look, we've done this and that. So that's how we try to at least foster a positive and productive work environment. But what we're looking for in people is, first of all, we don't look for knowledge. So we don't look in what people have done in the past. We don't look what people know, because knowledge is very accessible right now. You have ChatGPT, you have Google, you can get all the information that you want. So knowing something is not anymore most important thing. I think what I look into is the capacity to learn and evolve. So people must be able to evolve, change, pivot, and whatever they have as an experience, because that's what's missing. So you can't tell ChatGPT to take your experiences and build a new system in a new environment. So that's still a human, only possible by a human interference. And then we look for courage to take initiative. So, and I think the people that I like most in the company is who yell at me during meetings. So they say, you can't do this. I know you're the boss, but you can't do this. This is wrong. So that's something that we encourage a lot.
okay.
So people need to have the courage to just take the initiative, say, I have done this, I have taken this responsibility, I've made a mistake, I've learned from it, and next time I won't do it again. And that's okay for us. I mean, that's all we need. People who would just blame others or just won't take initiative say, okay, I don't want the responsibility for this. And if they do this, and that they're not the right for us. And free will, I mean, just decide on your own, man. I mean, it's not just think about what you can do best and and be self-driven. So that's another thing. Self-driven people, there's so much to do. We can't just put a manager on top of everybody. We have a very, very, very flat organizational structure. So everybody is responsible for what they are doing. There's no reporting back. We have a system, ERP next system, which we use, but it's more about for them to understand what they've been doing, what others are doing. It's used more as a communication tool than a reporting tool. And curiosity. So that's what you like. So you would give them what you think about this, what you think, what are you curious about? So, and why do you want to do this actually? And what if I would give you unlimited time, not unlimited time, but unlimited resources? What's the thing that you would do here? And we're expecting new ideas all the time. So those are the things that I would look for an employee. So if I get into an interview, I would say, okay, I have this problem, but how would you solve it? And I'm expecting a new idea and new something. Not something learned, as I said, because I can search on that myself. So what would be your take? What new, how can we do this different? I would say, okay, for example, I don't know, and very, very simple. We're doing Zoom meetings right now. So Kevin, how would you do this meeting different? I mean, next time, what technology would you do? I mean, think that you have no Zoom, Teams, nothing. So what would you do?
Yeah,
That would be my question to you if I was going to hire you, for example.
exactly. Yeah, I mean, obviously the pandemic, everybody got used to Zoom, and it
Yeah,
reminded me of like nobody had mobile phones when I started working, sort of thing,
yeah, sure.
And
Yeah,
now, like, everyone assumes, from I don't know what, 8 years of age or younger, they've got a mobile phone.
yeah,
And it's just the way we've learned to communicate. It's become much more efficient. It's become,
yeah,
uh, we've got to also, we have, it's the technology developing on the way we communicate. We're still communicating. So like my clients, I meet them on Zoom. I will meet them face to face at the start just to get an understand where they're at, that kind of thing. But it's much more efficient. I find the business owners I'm working with, everyone, as you've mentioned earlier, a lot of business owners are time poor. And
yeah,
so this becomes much more efficient rather than coming in. I meet with them, which I would have done before pandemic. You have the coffee, you have a chat, and there's half an hour gone. You know,
yeah,
and whereas this is on Zoom, it's very much like this. But if it wasn't Zoom, if our Teams or whatever else we're on, I know that before all of that, a lot of the people I work with were on the phone. They
yeah,
did it on the phone, and which is now looked at as old technology. I ring I've got kids in their 30s now, and they're saying, I say, I'm ringing you. You gave me a text. I'm ringing you, and you must have the phone in your hand. You didn't answer. So it's only dinosaurs talk on the phone. Yeah.
yeah,
So what would I do differently? I think it's going to evolve. It's going to come on more. This is what we're using at the moment. And the whole AI thing, I mean, that's just how we're going to use that to make ourselves even more efficient, particularly in design
yeah,
and all sorts of different things. So I don't have a pat answer for you, but I'm pretty sure the technology is going to keep evolving.
yeah, sure.
Yeah, okay. And okay, maybe just to round off then, Gokhan, what are some common misconceptions about running a business and how do you address them?
Uh, yeah, I think one of the main misconceptions is as a boss, you're free to do what you want and you decide what to do. But that's never true. So as a boss, you have responsibilities. You need to keep the place up, and you can do that only with the people involved. So what I'm trying to do is I communicate decisions very much. So I build up the understanding of the problem first. I have meetings with my people about what the possible solutions are. So I build up a little bit acceptance for any decision. And usually I'm trying them to make the decision that I think is correct. But I'm also very open because one of the things my employees tell me is, you're never wrong. You're always, and I tell them, of course, I'm always uh, correct because I have no answers before I start a meeting. So I say, this is correct, but then you convince me to something else. And then at the end of the meeting, I'm supporting that so much that it becomes my idea. And then you keep saying, you're never wrong. I mean, of course I'm not wrong because I changed my mind so much that, that, that's how not being wrong works for me. So, and then when you build up that acceptance for the decision, so people just think that not think it is their decision anyway. It's their take on it, and if they're involved in all the decisions, and so I think then you you may seem like you're deciding what to do, but it's not. People decide, and I have a very good understanding of that. And we need to be an example. You can't do what you want. You need to be an example of democracy, free will, as I said, all the values that you're putting in. If you're not holding them up, who will? And one more thing that we are doing is we're trying to build a system to work when I'm not here. So build a system that works. So even if I'm not there, people still keep challenging each other and still keep discussing things, and nobody's blaming any other for stupid ideas. And so if you can build up that system, also back it up with technology, I think that's that's important. And I would say make 80-90% of the process independent from the people, whoever it is. So that's one of my thing.
Yeah.
And
go on.
yeah, they're just going.
Yeah, no, it's one of the things we talk about. I was on a call. I spent a lot of time on training myself, but they on one of the training they're saying, you know, it's a common one we have, that 80% of the business should be systemized and 20% humanized. You know, not
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's the other way around. You know, normally when
that's common sense. You know, so that's another thing that I would say is a misconception is we should have a plan for what we should do in the future. So what are we going to do next month, the next year, the next 5 years? So business plans and all that. And I mean, everybody knows that no business plan works. So works out, and 50% of the business plans are just trash 3 months within the business. But still, when you look at it, every bank, every financier, every investor, everybody wants a business plan. So what I try to do is to build up that and communicate that change is inevitable. Because people, when they come into the company and they're not used to change and doing so much pivoting and so much change, they get really frustrated very soon about, what am I going to do now? I don't know what to do. I'm doing this, and then I'm doing this, and I'm doing this. But that's, I mean, we just try to communicate that this is how it is for small businesses in this world right now, where everything changes every minute. I mean, who would think 4 years ago that there would be a Ukraine crisis, which changes everything? I mean, every conception, everything that you had on the business has changed. So what we need to do is we need to build muscles of flexibility, and then we need to train those muscles. It's not that you can't do that from overnight, you know. So you need. It's like I keep telling my kids. So you can't lift 150 kilograms right now, but if you train, with starting with 50, 60, 70, over time, you may be able to lift 150. So, and this only happens with training your muscles to do it. So this is the same with the business. Flexibility is also something that you need to be trained in. And we keep raising awareness of that we're a small company, so change will come. We don't have business plan. I don't know what I'm going to do in 3 months. I know what I want to do. I have a direction, but I'm not sure at what stage of to that direction I will be in 3 months. Right now, Atexin has a revenue less than 10 million euros, but we have quotations out there in the world of over €500 million. Wow. So, and any of them may materialize. So how can you plan what you're going to do in 3 months under these circumstances? So if just one of those changes the whole concept. And the last thing I think I want to say is, and a misconception is that success is about money raised and the value of your shares. Mm-hmm. So I don't think that that's true. Success is if we have a good product, serving a good job, and if that makes us happy, I think that's success. Anything else is, and I keep saying this, I don't know if this is also a very known concept, but I think there are a lot of businesses right now in the world where the product is the business itself. It's not the product that the business builds. So we are trying to build up the product, the business, very attractive, get money in, and then have an exit strategy. I was when I came into Ireland first in 2016 with the IDA, they asked me, what's the exit strategy? And I am ashamed, but I didn't know the word. So I said, what's an exit strategy? So, and I'm still, I know now what it means, but I'm still thinking, what's an exit strategy? We don't have an exit strategy. We have a strategy to build better products, grow the company, have fun doing it, and then produce something that's worth. And then one time in the future, maybe people will say, okay, this is the first drone manufacturer in Ireland who has actually built something and exported globally and made something out of it. So that's the idea. So no exit strategy, and I think success is not about the money that you make.
Listen, Gokhan, you obviously enjoy hugely what you're doing, and
Yeah, definitely.
living the living the dream, to use a phrase. And again, as you mentioned earlier, that if you love what you do, you don't have to work a day in your life, sort of thing. And it's been fabulous talking to you. I'm delighted that you were able to take the time to talk to us. There's huge number of learnings in there, and also some challenges to our view of business is interesting. And again, as you say, if people challenge your views, you discuss it back and forth, you come up with something even better. So
Yeah.
that's fantastic. Well, listen, that's great. Thanks again, Gokhan.
Thanks, Kevin, for having me on this.